folks, I'm T.S. This is the Colorcast now, up and running for Thursday night, the 11th of August, 1994, from Studio A here in Burbank, California. Forgive the lack of jacket and attire tonight, but it is truly brutal in Southern California today. I think we hit 105 degrees in Burbank this afternoon. I would say it's, what, about 98 outside right now?
At least, yeah.
And we are in the second floor, or on the second floor of the CNBC complex. So the sun beats on the darn roof here, and although we have nice air conditioning, it just cannot overtake the heat. So we're trying to be as comfortable as possible to make you, the home viewer, as comfortable as possible as you are watching this program. But I caution you, if you are planning a trip to Southern California this weekend, you have not chosen wisely. Plus, can I tell you, I get up this morning about 7:45, 8 o'clock, and I flew back from New York yesterday, and boy, are my arms tired. Yeah, they're in there. Wait, open the control room door. Thank you. Just a second. Don't. So, you know, I flew in from New York yesterday. Close the control door.
What a crowd.
Yeah, oh yeah. The only difference here between the fellow up at Camarillo, is it still up there, the state hospital for the mentally afflicted?
Yes.
Or, excuse me, intellectually impaired, I want to be correct here, is that all of these people in my group here are allowed to go on the streets afterwards and exercise their free will as citizens. That's a scary thought, my friends. So anyway, I get up this morning around 8 o'clock and I hit the front deck to get the newspaper. The coffee's perking in the kitchen. And here is a young couple with a kid in the back seat. Hi, Tom. We're from Milwaukee. We found your house on the map. How are you? Oh, man. And I was nice, you know. I said, I was out visiting Mom. It's fine. Where do you live? I was very pleasant. But if I'd have had a backhoe, the kid would have been cross-eyed, yeah. Anyway, Annie Potts is here tonight from Love and War with our old friend Jay Thomas, he never comes over here anymore. I'm sure Annie Potts brings Jay Thomas's love. But as I said, the next time, have him bring the love, don't send the love. Annie Potts is here tonight. A fine young pianist is going to play our CNBC background music tonight, Mr. Dennis DeYoung, who will be at the Cinegrill later on tonight here in Southern California. If you're driving around watching this, why not stop by? And, I mean, you know, what are they going to jump in their cars and rush over? And Cristina Saralegui, who is one of the most popular television performers in all of Latin America. She has been called the Oprah Winfrey of Latin America, as a matter of fact. And since the Oprah Winfrey of America has no intention of coming here, we're pleased that Christina is here tonight. You know, when I worked for ABC Radio, the powers that be, you know, the management always has bright ideas about what they want on the air. I call it the CEO wish list. So this guy from ABC Radio, a very, very nice guy named Maurice Tunick, who is now the executive producer of the Sally Jesse Raphael show, he said, you know, Tom, your show will be the nightline of radio. I said, man, yeah, that's not bad, you know, the nightline of radio. So now as we went through the run, you know, he'd call every couple of weeks when we didn't quite measure up to his expectations, and he'd say, you know, Tom, what happened to the nightline of radio? I said, well, Maurice, what happened was they decided to do the nightline of television, which was Ted Koppel, you know, and once they make that decision, it's very tough for them to do the nightline of radio. Anyway, Cristina Saralegui is here tonight. I find out that on Prodigy, and I'm not hip to computers. That's a mailbox service where people can send letters to each other. Is that right?
Online interactive.
Online interactive. It'd be like instead of sending a letter, they type it on phone lines.
Correct.
You know what I love? They say, you know what? You can get a modem for your computer, and you can then plug on the phone lines, and you can talk on the phone lines with somebody else on their computer. Hey, guess what they have now? You just pick it up and talk to them. Hi, how are you? Good to talk to you. It's amazing, you know. So anyway, there's this thing on Prodigy where I guess some of you have mailboxed in to ask questions of me. And I talked with the TV mailbox people today, and those of you who did that will be getting answers from me, but I just wanted to go through a couple that you sent in here that I found interesting. For example, Dear Tom, always enjoy your show. Will the network allow the same casual banter between you and the crew? I certainly hope so. That's what the viewer writes in.
Mm-hmm. What is the answer to that question, sir?
Why don't you why don't you go ask the talking ball that you're so fond of? Yeah. Dear Tom, love the Tomorrow Show. Watching your Colorcast brings to mind the question, where is the teddy bear? Remember we used to have that? Yeah, well, he's at home. He quit TV. He was the smart one. He said, last December, I laughed so hard when you pulled out that cheap, tiny menorah after... Remember that when we did that? He says, well, he says, hopefully, when you get to CBS, you'll get the kind of classy crew that you deserve. So maybe he knows the answer to question one. Yeah, could be.
What is his name?
You can throw that one.
And I had one other one marked here.
If you weren't on TV.
If I weren't on TV, oh, here it is, yeah. Your 3 all-time favorite movies. By the way, this is a good thing for you to say when you phone us tonight. You know, it could be favorite movie. Movies are big this summer. I think my 3 favorites would be Rebecca, the Alfred Hitchcock picture with Joan Fontaine back in 1939. Then it would be Robert Young in The Best Years of Our Lives in 1946. And then it would be Maximilian Schell and Judgment at Nuremberg, the Stanley Kramer picture in, I believe, 1964, would be my 3 all-time favorites. So. And finally, I had a letter from, and you might as well show this. Mr. Rush Limbaugh sent me a little note here. See that? It's amazing how his signature is quite similar, isn't it? I mean, his name isn't Tom, but it's amazing how he has the same kind of flourish. It's interesting. Dear Tom, congratulations on your return to late-night network television. Well-deserved. He goes on, you have accomplished on TV that which is nearly impossible, a sense of intimacy with the viewer. Rush goes on to say this is somewhat easier to do on radio where the microphone and thus the audience is but inches away. However, on TV, the closeness and comfort is more difficult to achieve because the camera is many feet away. And he pays me a very nice compliment. My hat is off to you, my best, Rush. P.S. Don't you think you're hitting the Clintons a little too hard?
Beg your pardon.
Okay, let's go to the news.
All right.
Pacific Palisades, California, a 5-foot nurse shark. I've met her, yeah. A 5-foot nurse shark was seen today among some dolphins about 200 yards offshore from Will Rogers State Beach. Roll the videotape. We have the Coast Guard, I believe, observing the... It's not a shark. Well, it looks like a minnow or something. Let's see. Can they get... Oh, I see. As they get closer, we'll see the full... All right, now look at how big the boat is and look at how small the shark is. And I guess they closed the beach for this today. You know, panic in the streets. Anyway, these are supposed to be a very docile shark. Is that all we have?
Apparently,
we didn't spend a lot on that, did we? No. Very docile shark. They have very rubbery teeth, but it's not common to see that. Well, there's your news right there. They don't often show up in daylight, you know, with rubbery teeth and all. Why? I hate a nurse shark with rubbery teeth. Annie Potts is first up and first. Good God, is it 8 after already?
Already?
Jeez,
we haven't too much time.
Halfway home and we'll be there by morning. Annie Potts, fire up a color teeny and watch the pictures as they fly through the air. Jeez.
CNBC. For opinion on today's toughest issues, Posner Donahue tonight.
Now here is Annie Potts from Love and War over on the CBS television network at 9:30 on Monday nights. That'd be New York time, where she plays the role of Dana, and if my pronunciation is incorrect, you will fix it. Dana de Palladino. Palladino, who is an Italian culinary chef in a restaurant, right? Okay. Do you get calls from chefs in real life? You know, a lot of restaurants are closed on Monday night, and I wonder if you get second-guessed by people who really cook for a living.
You know, most restaurants are, if they're closed at all, are going to be closed on Monday nights. So there are a lot of chefs that watch our show, and they do...
See how I picked right up on that, yeah?
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
You know, I never figured that, and then people started calling in and saying, you know, you would never wear that in the kitchen. My response to all of that is, you know, this isn't reality.
Yeah, right. It's
I'm
a
not
show.
really a chef. It's a comedy. They're like, well, you'd never be in a catsuit and chiffon. It's like, well, maybe you wouldn't, but our stove really isn't on.
Yeah, our burners don't go all the way to high, right? But they do feed back to you, huh?
They do. Actually, a very good friend of mine is a chef in San Francisco and has a swell joint up there called Regina's Shishi Beignet. And she's quite the gal. I sort of fashioned myself after her, and she's always decked out and in the kitchen and Pepe Chico and throwing the things around and out in her designer things. And so that's kind of my idea of it.
Now, you told me before we started, you've been in the same time period for 9 years. You've had the same start, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You're very, very fortunate. The whole company of Love and War,
well, this is the third year for Love and
yeah,
War.
but then-
Before that, I was with Designing Women
Right.
in the same time
Yeah.
slot. But yeah.
So people who know you know where to find you. They haven't jiggled you all over the schedule from Thursday at 8 to Tuesday at 11 to...
Yes, yes. But I had to, I don't know if you remember, but I used to have a whole lot of red hair.
I know you
And then when
did.
I switched shows and everything, I felt like I needed to do something so they wouldn't get confused.
Yeah,
so I just
yeah. Well,
shaved my head.
I say, do you feel you might have gone a little too far?
No, I like grand gestures, you know? I think it's
Well, you've
good
made one.
to-
You've made one. Speaking of shaving your head, you know, I was reading in the paper this morning about this girl. Her name is Shannon Faulkner, and she's going to be the first woman at the Citadel, you know, down there in
Yes.
South Carolina. And I guess they had a whole big court thing as to whether or not she should get the same shave cut that the guys get when they go into the
They gonna
military.
buzz her?
I think they are. I think the judge said that she...
Well, it seems like she's fought such a battle to get in. I guess she's going to go all the way.
Yeah, but I like the way you picked up on that term, because that's what it said in the paper. She said, you know, if I have to be buzzed, I'm going to get buzzed.
Hey, buzz me. Sometimes you have to.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. It's very liberating to do that. I mean, I couldn't believe what an uproar it caused, too. I mean, you know, when you work in TV, even when you're live and you're addressing the camera directly,
Yeah.
you know, you kind of work in a vacuum, and I don't think you realize very often the impact that you have. People stop me in airports. They go, I hate your hair. I hate it. I don't know why you did that. Or they'll stop and say, I love your hair. I wanted to cut my hair. My husband won't let me.
Now, would the younger woman hate you more because you cut your hair, or because I've noticed as women get older, and I could be totally wrong in this observation.
Come on, give this to me, Tom.
As I've been so many times in my observations about women, that when women get older, if they had worn their hair longer when they were young, they would cut it shorter when they got to like 50 or 55.
Well, I think it tends to be more flattering. You cut your hair and it's sort of like an instant facelift, you know?
Right.
You know, it's the first... You go to the hair cutters before you go to the surgeon, I think, you know? I think I'll cut my hair first.
Yeah,
before
before
I take... Yes. So I've cut my hair first.
But in airports, they run up, and hair is a big deal, huh?
It is. I've been stunned by the response, really. But I like it, and my husband likes it.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
You know, to hell with the viewers. I've been saying that. No, it's a joke. just a little joke. Anyway, we have a little snippet here of Annie Potts in Love and War, and I believe this is the episode for which you received the Emmy Award nomination.
I'm not sure if that's true.
I
It's one of
thi-
my favorite episodes, though.
Did you want to set up the episode, or should we just barge into it?
I think this is like one of the first dates that Jay and I had, and
You got it, yeah.
Yeah, and we're trying to make a go of it, but as things usually happen with us, things have gone awry. I believe.
Okay, Annie Potts, Love and War, Jay Thomas, her co-star. You folks at home, watch the monitors. Let's go to the videotape.
Cotton to silk.
Silk. Lace-trimmed black silk. All my underwear is lace-trimmed black silk. I sleep in it. I vacuum in it.
I wish I'd have known that earlier when I was at your place. I'd have spilled something on the carpet.
You know what, Jack Stein? It's a good thing you're doing so well on your own, because you are nuts. And somebody would have to be equally nuts to want to go out with you. And you know what? With all those new miracle drugs out there, there's a lot less nutty women than there used to be. So you better hold on to those bachelor instincts, because you're going to need them.
Say, that dress was very attractive that you were wearing in that particular.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I wouldn't worry about your hair. You look fine. We will continue with Annie Potts, one of the stars of War and Peace. Love and War, CBS, Mondays. Joining us tonight is Dennis DeYoung, fine young pianist, one of the founding members of the band Styx, who'll be playing the piano for us all night. Dennis, take it away. No time. We're very pleased to welcome Mr. Dennis DeYoung to our CNBC Orchestra tonight, sitting in with the band. Dennis has a terrific new CD out, Broadway songs, Broadway stuff, and he'll join us here shortly. And as I say, if you're driving around watching, he'll be at the Cinegro a little bit later on tonight. I'm sorry I introduced him, and then we had to go to a commercial right away, and nobody heard him, but these things happen.
Yes.
Yes. We're with Annie Potts of War and Peace. Here is Patty in Bay City, Michigan. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Patty.
Love your show.
Thanks, Patty. I like your house. It looks good. Except the carpet's a little tacky, Patty.
I beg your pardon?
Now, never mind. I said nothing.
Okay. I have a question for you first.
Okay.
Are you going to take your crew with you when you go to CBS?
Yes.
They're
Yes.
such
Did-
great guys.
Did they put you up to this, Patty?
No, Tom. No, they did not.
I'm going to work as hard as I can to do that, but it's, in many cases, it's not my call. I'm sure they understand, but I'm going to do all I can to do that.
Well, I hope you will. They're
So
great
do I,
fun.
Patty. And so do they.
Yes.
For Annie, love your new show, but don't you miss Designing Women? We miss that show so much.
How can you miss it? It's on 1,600 times a week.
You know what, Annie? I've seen every one of those reruns, and I'm ready for some new stuff. Do you see that in some point in the future, maybe there will be a return of the Designing Women?
Like a reunion type show like they have
No,
for
I
the...
don't mean a reunion. I mean, bring that series back.
Patty, don't be greedy about this.
I'm greedy.
A reunion might be all that you can get, Patty. You know, take what you can get here.
Well, I don't think that they would just do a one-movie deal. I think it would have to be a return of the series. That's what we all want.
Well, that is such a sweet notion. I think that there's probably not much a chance that that would happen, but it's sweet to know that people feel that way.
Yeah, but how about like a reunion, like they do with the Brady Bunch every 6 months?
No.
No.
I don't see that in the cards.
Doesn't look good, Patty.
We
Pat-
miss you, Annie.
Huh?
We just love Designing Women.
Okay, Patty, I'm glad you called. Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Eileen in Riverdale, New York or New Jersey?
New Jersey.
Oh, hi, Eileen. How are you?
Hi, fine, Tom.
Good.
I've been a fan of yours first. I can remember all the way back to your time when you was on NBC News in Los Angeles with Brian Gumble
That's a long time ago,
doing
Eileen.
the sports. I've followed you ever since. And
Well,
I was, like, very
but you see, I went from here to the East Coast, and then I guess you stayed there.
I did. I stayed for 30 years. I just came back to the East Coast just a couple of years ago.
Terrific. Hey, here's Annie Potts. Say hello.
Hello, Annie. I have
Hi.
a question for you. I enjoyed your show very much when you did Designing Women. I have a question for you on your new show as far as it being involved with cooking and everything. Did you have a lot that you had to learn in order to do a part like this on the show, or does cooking come natural to you?
Actually, I love to cook, so, I mean, I don't, I haven't had any experience actually cooking for a restaurant before, but there's usually 7, 8, 10 people at my house, and I have often cooked for numbers.
Who are these people?
Oh, I don't know. Part of it's family. People drop in.
Yeah, right.
It's like, who's he? Is he a regular? Is he staying long?
That it's basically something that you do enjoy doing, whether it be at the show or at home.
I do. You know, I'm a Southern girl, raised in the kitchen. And,
Nashville, huh?
Oh, that's
I was born
very
in
nice.
Nashville, raised just north of there in Kentucky.
I married a Southern fella, too, so that makes us even more so. I love Southern food.
You know, Eileen and Annie, I had these computer mail, what do they call it again?
Prodigy?
Prodigy. And they asked me what my favorite meal was. Well, Eileen, what's your favorite meal?
My favorite meal,
Yeah.
if I told her, she would probably know what it was. Southern fried chicken, collard greens,
Yeah. And hush puppies.
the hush puppies, and cheeses, snaps, and a good old-fashioned Southern fish fry.
Yeah. What's your favorite, Annie? Oh, if you could have any meal in the world, what would be your favorite thing?
Probably catfish and collard greens.
Is that right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Eileen, I'm glad you called. Thanks.
Thank you. Oh, and Tom, one more other thing I'd like to know. Is there any chance that you and Brian Gumble might get together one time on your new show, if you could get him on as a guest? I'd love to see the two of you together.
Well, I'd love to have Brian Gumbo on this show, but the problem I have is that when we do this at 10 o'clock at night back east, he has got to be up so early in the morning that it's difficult for him to come over to Fort Lee. And then, by the time you get home to Manhattan, it's, 11:15, 11:30 at night, and that's pretty late for Brian. He needs his sleep.
understand.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen his work, so you know.
Comedy Hour, the new.
I beg your pardon?
I remember when they used to call your news show, instead of a news show, it was called the Comedy Hour.
I'd prefer we didn't remember that.
I thought it was
Eileen,
enjoyable.
thanks.
I enjoyed the news more that way.
All right, thanks a lot, Eileen.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. As a young woman, you had the pleasure, I read, of working with Vincent Price and Roddy McDowell, two great gentlemen in this business. Vincent
Yes.
sadly has gone on, but Roddy is still a frequent guest on this program and a dear friend.
The best. I was really lucky in that. It was my first professional job. Roddy and Vincent and his fabulous wife, Coral Brown. And Joanna Gleason, too, who's now on Love and War with me.
Yeah.
We were on the road together.
But what did you and Vincent Price and Roddy McDowell do? What was the project?
We were doing Charlie's Aunt, that old chestnut.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fabulous.
And, like, did anything funny ever happen with these guys around, or was it just
we
your
were
basic, boring,
so
run-of-the-mill?
naughty. Oh, we were so bad. Coral and Joanna and I used to stand in the wings and pull our skirts up at the drop of a hat, you know. Ah! And
What, you
Roddy would be like, oh. We were very bad. We had the most fun.
Uh-huh. And what was the purpose in doing that? That was just to kind of make them laugh or break them up, or...
Oh, just to be bad. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite things that ever happened on stage happened in that show. I hope I have enough room to do it here. I've never been able to do it since it was a mistake when it happened. Roddy was about to do a scene, and I was supposed to get up very quietly and walk behind a couch and go slide out a door very quietly. And what happened was my cue came to do that and disappear, and it was my first job. I didn't want to make a mistake. And the first step I took was on the hem of my dress, and the second was further up, and till I had walked entirely up into the waistband of my dress, disappeared behind the couch, and there was no way out.
We're disappearing too. Back after these messages.
But to come backwards.
That's Dennis DeYoung. The new album is out now. It's called 10 on Broadway, and Dennis will join us here on stage in just a couple of minutes. We're with Annie Potts from Love and War over on CBS TV. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah,
you look at me like I've made a terrible mistake.
You know,
again.
I'm just laughing because I called it War and Peace myself.
Well, how could you not? How could you not? So anyway, when you did the thing where you walked up your dress, I'm sure the audience is going crazy and the cast is going crazy watching you make a complete fool of yourself, not intentionally. And you're probably thinking to myself, well, this is my final performance.
Yes, I thought that they were going to give me my papers after that. But I tell you, I've never done anything on stage to match it in terms of comedy.
Really?
You know, it's one of those brilliant accidents.
Yeah. Did you ever, like, forget a line when you just couldn't get the line back, or?
Oh, so many times.
Yeah.
Coral was notorious for doing that, or she would just... She would get tickled on stage, and she would just turn her back to the audience and just laugh. You could see her shoulders just going.
Who? Coral
Brown.
Yeah, or Coral Brown, yeah.
Yes. I thought, boy, but, you know, she was 60 years old. You've been at the old Vic since she was 18. I mean...
Hey, if they can't take a joke.
Hey.
Kim in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Kim. How are you?
Oh, I'm just fine.
Good.
Listen, well, first, love the show.
Thank you.
Then I got a question for Annie.
Go ahead. She's right here.
Okay, Annie, you know where Bowling Green, Kentucky is, I believe.
I do. My mother lives there.
I know that. Listen, in regards to good old designing women, did you ever get any ideas for the show from your sister?
You know, both of my sisters are interior designers, and so I have all my life drawn much of my comedy from my sisters. I was the baby. I was the one who sat quietly and watched them be funny and clever, and so much of what I've ever done has been based on silly things my sisters did.
Okay, sounds good.
Kim, I'm glad you called. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, bye-bye, hon. Can I ask you a question? Have you ever asked your sisters where the term interior designer came from? I mean, think about that for a moment. Interior designers.
Mm-hmm. No, I hadn't thought about it.
Well, just think about it for a second, because in my lifetime, I have done several homes, and I've used an interior designer, or sometimes they're called decorators.
Yes.
Yeah. Although a designer probably would be more involved with shaping wall units, designing atria, which is the plural of atrium, right? Okay.
That's really good.
Yeah, and then they say, and I think that the puce would be nice on the valance, and the lavender would be good on the sconce. And I think to myself, what are these people talking about at $400 an hour?
Yes, I don't know. I always thought that the decorator was the lesser term. I don't really know how they feel about it within the industry. But interior. Some people say interior designers, interior decorators. I don't know.
What do you do? I'm an interior designer. Oh, excuse me.
Sounds like a spiritual thing, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'd like to design your interior. I don't know. You took a trip to India, you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do when you go to India?
You sort of steel yourself for it. I had always wanted to go, and so I went with some of my girlfriends this summer.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you girls do down there?
Checked it out.
Well, I mean, you fly to Delhi, New Delhi?
Bombay, actually.
All right. Yeah, okay. Go to a hotel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I mean, I don't know. I guess I was just feeling so lucky and so fortunate, and I felt that I should go someplace and kind of stretch my mind and see how a remarkable portion of the world lives. They have nothing, they have nothing.
People are very poor in India.
It's you can't even take it in. We arrived in Bombay at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the instant we got out of immigration, there were beggars on us like fleas. Little babies
kids,
up in the middle of the night begging, and you just, your heart will
And then,
break.
so then you have to give them something, huh?
Well, you're told not to. It's very tough.
It's sad.
I mean, the memory in my mind of leaving India, I thought I would, the last like 200 yards before I got back into the Bombay airport to leave, the car was surrounded by women with their hands stretched out, please, please. And we had brought foods with us so we could, in case there were things we couldn't eat. And so we had passed all our power bars and our granola bars out, and as I passed my last packet of electrolyte replacement out to this woman, and she was like, what is this? And I thought, don't worry, you'll need it. It could be really useful here.
Could I ask just an innocent question? What is, electrolyte replacement? Yeah. Oh, I thought it was
That's in case you get sick and you need a liquid.
electrolyte. Right?
Yeah.
See, there's another product. There's another
be.
product has a name that's similar, that has a different use that we won't go into here. But it has to do with it has to do with feeling fresh.
Oh no, nothing like that. But it's really interesting to see people who have so little, how they lead lives of dignity and elegance.
See, I see these commercials, and I see the daughter saying to her mother, I don't feel fresh. And, see, guys don't get that, we...
Mm-hmm. You get it. You get it.
Yeah. I know a friend who went to India once, and he told me that if you go in restaurants and hotel lobbies, that there are cows everywhere.
Well, there are cows and everything in the street.
Because they're sacred there.
Yes. I didn't see in any hotel lobbies.
Yeah.
That I remember. But they are, they're everywhere.
Yeah. He said that the cows are sacred and that they know it.
I think that's probably right.
Pretty good.
Everybody there seems to have a sense of themselves in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Even the animals.
Even the animals. Well, it sounds like you had a hell of a time there. I mean, you probably just...
I did.
One nightclub after another, Sure. Did you bring any slides, or?
No, wait a minute. You know, the Villa d'Este actually sounds like a fabulous place.
Never mind. We have been enjoying the company tonight of Annie Potts, who appears with our friend Jay Thomas over there on the CBS TV network. Why we're going there, I have no idea. It's if they're there, but it's a joke. Anyway, it's at 9:30 Monday nights. It's called
Love and War.
Love and War, right. Annie, thanks a million.
You're so naughty.
Well, so are you. You know, with the lifting of the skirts and all that. Good luck, Annie, and give our best to Jay, okay?
Thanks, I will.
Thanks a million. We don't come in here. We'll be right back with a man who is playing tonight at the Cinegrill, Dennis DeYoung. You hear him? He'll be right back. We've been enjoying the music of Dennis DeYoung tonight with the CNBC Orchestra. Dennis is a fine artist, one of the founding members of the band Styx. And along the way, he kind of transferred to Broadway, and he's got a great album out now. The CD is called 10 on Broadway with Dennis DeYoung. And there are some truly great numbers in here. I've just been going over the catalog. Someone to Watch Over Me, On the Street Where You Live, Summertime, Memory. Terrific song. Terrific song.
Memory, it's the law. You have to record.
You must play Memory,
If you're
right.
going to do a Broadway album, I think it was passed last year's legislation. I tried to not do it.
Really?
And it says, no, I'm afraid. It says right here, and they have attorneys, you know.
Yeah, I know.
It says right.
And another one that I love when you go to the official restaurant of the Color Cast, that'd be the Smokehouse over here in Burbank. They have a piano trio at night, and often there's a young chanteuse, you know, a singer.
Oh, yes, I had that. That's good with a little garlic.
And one of the requirements is that she sing feelings, you know. Feelings.
I know.
Whoa, 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 feelings.
Everybody! Dominic, go ahead, sing. Oh, feelings, nothing more but feelings. Who wrote that? Who wrote that song?
No idea.
Dominic Madungo? No, he just, I don't know.
Now, the switch then from Styx
Yes.
and rock and roll
Right.
and rhythm and blues
Yes.
to Broadway.
Yes.
There's a good story here somewhere, I believe.
I hope so. I'm on TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's nice that you know that, Dennis.
2 years ago, this is a true story, my sister-in-law lives out here. She gets married to a fellow named Forbes Candlish. So I fly out for the wedding, and I've never met him before. So we go to the, we go to the ceremony, then back to the reception.
Forbes
and,
Candlish.
Forbes Candlish.
Uh-huh.
And he comes up to me, at the reception. He said, I'm the executive producer of Jesus Christ Superstar, the
really?
20th anniversary reunion tour of the guys who were in the motion picture.
Oh, no, I was on radio at the time, and this was a big event. We had people come on to tout this thing. This was a very big production.
I was Pontius Pilate.
What a part to play.
Bring me the head of Moses. That's the wrong show. That's King and I. No. So anyway, he comes up to me at the reception. He says, I want you to be Pontius Pilate in the show.
And what a great part to play, huh? The
It's
guy who
great.
says, I wash my hands.
Well, I mean, the tour itself was very crucifying. It was night after night. No, but the good thing about the tour, Tom, the best part really was that I never had to pay for a meal for the whole tour, because the whole crew and cast, we'd go in the restaurant, Jesus would come in, order a loaf of bread, a fish.
Or two. Did you do stand-up at one time, Dennis?
Never, and as I can see, I'm not going to try it now.
It was good till the crucifying. Then,
it was close. It was close. Yeah.
And now, like, when you go to the Cinegrill tonight, you're over there a little bit later on this evening, I believe. Do you take requests from the crowd that comes in, or do you...
I do, but I just don't honor them.
Oh, I got you.
I'll take any request and just blow them off. I says, listen, if you want to hear that, ask someone else. They're always asking feelings. No.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't open that door. Don't open that. They've had their turn here tonight. Now, just leave that alone.
Oh, God.
And so where do you make your home now? The West Coast or the East Coast?
I was born and raised in Chicago, and I've lived there my whole life, and I still live there.
Mm-hmm. And do you work in the Chicago area when you're there as a piano player? No.
Actually, I'm in waste management. I have.
Hey, ask a dumb question, you get a dumb answer, right?
Actually, what I do is I've been married 25 years this January, and I have 2 kids, and I lead a pretty regular life, except for that occasionally I go out and play Pontius Pilate. Who knew?
Yeah, right.
You know what happened? Wait a minute. You know what happened to me? This is great.
I have no idea, but I'll go for it.
I was born a Catholic boy, and I was.
So was I.
You were.
Sure, I went to Jesuits. You know.
That's right. You're a retired Catholic. Or
No,
you're
lapsed.
You check your license. Let's see, lapsed. Okay. So anyway, I'm rehearsing for this show.
For Pontius Pilate.
Pontius Pilate. And I say to my wife, she's a very devout kind of Catholic girl still.
Yeah.
You know, and I say
Like
to her,
like on Ash Wednesday, she would have.
She had all year long.
Yeah.
I can't get her to get the ash. I said, honey, it's okay, and get the palms out of the bed. But
2, 3, 4.
okay, here we go.
Or 2.
So anyway, this is not as funny as it seems.
You're right.
And it doesn't seem very funny. But I'm rehearsing, so we're dress rehearsal the night before the show opens. We're going to go run the whole thing, moving scenery for the very first time in front of human beings.
Right.
They lower a roll drop hits me in the head, knocks me 8.5 feet off of a platform.
Oh.
I thought I was going to be killed, and I went back to Chicago and rehab for 3 months because I hurt myself. And I started to say to my wife, honey, this Pontius Pilate thing, I think this is a good idea.
Maybe we should rethink
I know.
this.
But I got better, and I went and I did the role.
Anyway, good. Have a great night over at the.
I will.
Are you there tonight and tonight only?
Just last night and tonight. And
Okay.
if people want to come by last night, they can.
Okay, fine. Hey, you should have been here yesterday. How often have you heard that? Dennis DeYoung is our guest name. His newest CD, which is out now, is called 10 on Broadway, and he'll be over on Hollywood Boulevard tonight in the Roosevelt Hotel at the Cinegrill. Thanks, Dennis, for coming over.
Thanks, Tom.
My pleasure. We will continue with our next guest after these messages.
If you'd like to purchase a VHS copy of the preceding program, please send $19.95 plus $3.50 shipping and handling with the name, air date, and subject of the program to Burrell's, P.O. Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07039. For credit card orders, please call 1-800-777-8398.
You know, that's not a bad read on the Burrells, but remember, they used to tell me, you know what they say, announcers, punch this copy. Right. You should, hit it a little harder, you know what I mean? Joining us now as we enter the third hour of tonight's show is... What is the...
You're killing me.
Not quickly enough.
Oh, thank you very much.
Here is one of the most popular television personalities in all of Latin America and the United States. Her name is Cristina Saralegui. She's got a special coming up on the CBS television network. She's got is this your own magazine?
Yes, sir. It's been on for 3 years.
Look at this, the Cristina Saralegui magazine. What do they have advertised on the back of that magazine?
Marlboro.
No, we don't want those. Usually when we hold up a magazine, it's got liquor advertised on the back, and then they send it to us. Anyway, Cristina, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for
Welcome to the
having me.
Colorcast. Now, these specials on the CBS television network, tell us, these are shows in which you interview people, Hispanic stars, right, men, that are very, very popular.
I've been doing my Spanish show for 5.5 years.
Right.
Lately, we've been doing a series of shows on AIDS because I'm the Hispanic spokesperson for AMPAR.
Okay.
And that can get to you. So I decided, well, CBS, we're going to do some specials, primetime, great. Let me pick a topic that's like fun, for
Right.
me to do,
Yeah.
for people to watch, and a little change of speed here.
Pace is, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something here. Is your program, the Spanish language program, would it be comparable to what we would call like Oprah Winfrey or Phil Donahue in this country?
Well, there's a big difference between Oprah Winfrey and myself, sir.
Oh, I understand that.
$500 million on a tan. I mean, yes,
Touché.
can we talk?
Yeah.
All right.
But do you do the kinds of topics that they do on these programs, where people are in love but they can't love their children back, and, lesbian nuns and the priest who hate them?
I think everybody basically does the same kind of topics. Mm-hmm. But my problem is that for the past 5 years, my show goes all over Latin America in Spanish.
Right.
And it also goes all over the States. So we have to pick topics that apply to Hispanics in every country. Mm-hmm. Now that's kind of freaky because it's like doing a show that appeals to Americans and to South Africans and to Canadians and to people in Great Britain, and it's top 10 or top 20.
Right.
And it's very tricky because the Spanish is different, the language. Everything you say can be a bad word in Latin America in one or other country.
True.
Yeah.
By the way, in this country, too, although not to the extent that it would happen in the Hispanic-speaking countries, But for example, there is a dialect spoken in the southeastern part of the United States which is called Geechee English, which is totally different, and phrases have different meanings. So even within America, you sometimes say things and people in different parts of the country will take it the wrong way because it means something different where they live.
But as long as you're safe in the big cities, you know what you're talking about.
That's true.
For us, like, every word that's a bad word usually ends up meaning something like female genital organ in Brazil. It's like,
right.
Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. But, you know, after a while, that you do it for a couple of years, after 5 years, you know, they know you don't mean that. You don't mean wrong. So you just sort of roll with the punches. Yeah. Let me tell you, when I started my show, every grandma in Latin America wanted to wash my mouth out with soap.
Right. What was it that you said?
All these words that for us is like, you know, getting a bus, and for them it's like having sexual intercourse with a baby. And it's like Spanish everywhere, but it's very difficult. Yes, it is. For example, the word for bus, you know, in Cuba is guagua, and that's the word for baby in Chile. And then the same word. And then in Cuba, you say coger la guagua, to take the bus. Yeah. Down there, coger means to have sexual intercourse. So what for me is to get the bus is to have sexual intercourse with a baby. Yeah. So I had to learn all this stuff, and I had a big thing like the 11th commandment is no coger on my wall. So I would not say that on the air, but now I can say no, I don't mean it. Okay, so now that you've been on the air 5.5 years and they know... They trust me. Okay, they trust Christina. Yes, sir. By the way, you might call the show Trust Christina. You know? Although I should mess around with 5.5 years and $500 million. Knock on wood. Yeah. Well, or as I like to say on our show here, you know, hey, that's using your ass, you know. Bleep, bleep. Which, by the way, in the southeastern part of the United States means take a bus. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you know what I mean. Hey, Tom's taking a bus. Wow, that's great. Anyway, here is a little a clip we have of your show, Christina. Is this the CBS or the Spanish language show? Spanish. Okay. No, CBS, I think. CBS, well... I think they picked a clip of Plácido Domingo, and I think that you're a fan. Oh, I love Plácido. And we have Plácido on the Latin Lover special, and if I'm correct, you'll see why on this clip. Okay, here it is. The image of the Latin lover has changed a lot since, for example, Valentino to Al Pacino. You know, do you consider yourself a Latin lover?
I'm a Latin and I'm a lover, so that makes me a Latin lover. I don't believe in the macho feeling, but I do believe very much on that the man has to be the one that has the initiative. He is a good-looking guy, isn't he? He's the sexiest of the lot. I picked a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old, and he's 53, and he was the sexiest. I'm glad to hear you say that. It's true. Yeah, it gives all of us hope, Christina. Yeah. Now, you have one man on this show that I interviewed on a similar program for NBC many, many years ago, Eric Estrada. At the time, we have 1 minute left? Yes, sir. Okay. What is Eric Estrada doing these days? It's incredible, because after Chips went off the air 10 years ago, it was like the earth swallowed him. B-movies, and you know what? He got in touch with a Mexican production company that does worldwide soap operas, and that man became a superstar a year ago in the world in Spanish, from Spain, Chile, all over the United States. So we do not have to run a tag day for him? It's incredible how well he's doing again. I'm pleased to hear it. Listen, I'm a little bit short on time. Please forgive me, but thanks for coming on. I hope your CBS special does very well for you, and it's really a pleasure to meet you. Thank you, sir. I love to be with broadcasters. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, Cristina Saralegui on the CBS television network. You'll check the listings for the time and station. Drive safely on the way home now. Stay tuned for Berkowitz, back tomorrow night, same time, same station. Good night, friends.